Hello. Hello, hello. Can you guys hear me? Yeah, I'm just running Miss Fiji Ouija right now because it's like pretty chilly music. I'm gonna make it a bit more silent because my mic isn't too loud right now, and I can't talk too loud because it's 10 PM here already, and yeah. People are already going to bed. Hello everyone. Let's show Rocket League. How about that? If this loads, it does. Yeah. So that was a bit embarrassing a couple of hours ago, but I can assure you that it's now working as intended. Go away with those massive graphs. I live in Germany. So yeah. I'm not quite sure how I want to structure this. So, hey Shadow, I'm not gonna read it all because I can already see it's a troll message. I want to get something done. So Q&A when I have time, but right now I'm gonna ignore questions unless I see at first glance that it's something important regarding the thing I just said. So what do I have here? Well, you can't see really anything right now, it's just regular Rocket League, but I've written a completely automated testing tool. And that basically means that I can open the BakkesMod console and type in here patch test, and it's gonna test the entire patch as soon as I do that. But before I do that, I want to explain a couple of things, what it actually does. So I set myself this goal, basically what I want to do, and I just put it in a stupid text file because it works fine. And yeah, I wanted to test the car stats that I test every patch anyway, and are in my car stats spreadsheet. Wait, I'm stupid. I am not even showing my desktop. Yes, this I need. Okay, so yeah, there's my text file. Broken stream. What? I hope it's working now. This should be able to see. So yeah, the car stats, I'm checking every patch. I haven't played patch 1.452 at all. I've just patched to 1.52 today, that's why I had the trouble earlier. Well, yeah, basically all these stats that I'm collecting every patch anyway. So with the latest turning video 18, I kind of had this problem that these stats aren't easy to collect at all. So my usual methods would be taking me forever to do them. Well, I would basically have to work like 10 hours on every new patch, at least, just to recollect everything I know right now. And I'm going to be adding even more to that in the future. And with this testing tool, I can add more to the testing tool every time I test something anyway, and it's literally no work from now on to have more tests every patch. So yeah. What do I collect? Car stats. What does that include? The hitbox size, of course. I'm checking if that stays the same. The root joint offset. I'm not going to go into details right now what that is exactly, because I mean, I have some videos which explain it, like the car differences basics. I don't quite remember which episode that was. I think episode 7. So stuff like this, ground to root joint distance, the angle of the car as it stands, and the wheel radii, the offsets of the wheels, where they are positioned, all of the stuff that I have in the spreadsheet already here, but they automatically get checked for every car with every patch. And the advantage of this tool is it's gonna check it for literally every car. So even though they are all only these 6 presets, and everything in the preset should be the same, I'm actually confirming now that every patch it stays the same. So if some car actually doesn't belong into some of these presets, I'm gonna find it out instantly with this tool. And suspension distance. So that is stuff that I've always been doing, so this is just helping me make that quicker. But then there's stuff that I haven't done before. And that's like the turning left and right, turning while accelerating, turning with power slide and everything. And the great thing about the tool is that I basically do a macro that's 100% the same every time I run it. On the same patch, I've confirmed that many times, that it's always exactly the same. And if I run that macro on another patch and then I find a difference, that basically means I have a difference in physics. And that's why I'm creating all these different scenarios. And there are a lot of these that are basically redundant and I wouldn't need to do them. But it's better to create too many, because yeah, if something changes, then maybe multiple tests will change at the same time, but that's no problem. So what do we have? We just have regular turning, and then turning with power slide, jumping, dodging, basically everything you can think of. Stuff like, for example, dodge diagonally by using the arrow keys, which is something that actually Psyonix broke in patch 1.50, but instantly fixed. This would have instantly caused something like that. Then wave dashing, flip canceling, all kinds of stuff, stall, turtle, rotating in the air, accelerating in the air, using boost. And yeah, those are basically just car physics, all of these. Just different car changes. If something changes with the car, a specific car, or just the car physics in general, then this would change. Then next part, yeah, the section at the top right here, car only, then I have car ball interactions. And these are just all kinds of car ball interactions that you can think of. Just launching the ball into the car, basically just a regular shot in the air. Then drive straight into the ball is just a ground shot. And dodge into the grounded balls, ground shot with a dodge. Dodge into a hovering ball. And pinch on the wall, pinch on the ground. Just regular shot situations that you can think of. Then dribbling. This dribbling should catch a difference like the one Psyonix introduced in patch 1.50, but they of course already fixed that. In theory, we're gonna figure out if it's actually 100% fixed everything. Yeah, a flick, air dribbles, wheel hits, and all these flip reset stuff. Alright, and last but not least, I have a couple of ball just scenarios where the ball bounces on the curve on the ground. I have a couple of the buggy bounces I had in my one video, so those are getting checked automatically if they get fixed maybe, although it's kind of unlikely that they exactly get fixed. And rolling on the floor, rolling into a curve, and if spin affects the ball the same way. So the thing with ball physics is that I can check if the ball physics are different, but if like the mesh of the map changes, there's obviously always like some spot on the map that maybe they changed the mesh, and I cannot possibly test the entire map. So I can only test a couple of spots and hope that the entire physics didn't change. If they changed just a small part of the map, I cannot catch that basically with this method. The only way to catch something like that would be to actually check the map files. I may be able to look into that in the future, but when I check the map files, then it's also always a question: did they actually change anything that is important, or did they just change like a tree in the background? That's obviously not going to do anything. So that's gonna be kind of tough. But yeah, basically that's not what I'm testing. And yeah, these are all the scenarios. Basically all of them. I'm not sure if I've written down actually every single one of them. But the important part is that this tool does all of these. Here are a couple of the macros you can see in inputs. And I'm confirming that those stay the same, that I don't change these either. And then there are the log files. And basically what we have here are once the car stats. This is for literally every car in the game. And then we have the 6 presets. One example of them: Batmobile, Breakout, Dominus, Octane, Paladin is a Plank preset, and Venom is a Hybrid preset. And yeah, with those we're going to do every single one of these physics tests fully automatically. And the ball. And to make sure that the tool actually creates new files and doesn't just stop working, I'm gonna delete all of these. And then after we run the tool, all of these should be full again. And then we can compare to the previous to the previous patch. 1.49 is the patch I tested on previously. Which is before Psionics did the first breaking of the physics. Oh yeah, Control A. You're absolutely right. I always forget about that, I don't know. There are some computer shortcuts that I know, but I always forget about. I cannot delete the folders because I currently don't have folder creation implemented in this plugin, so yeah. I need the folders to be there. So yeah. Everyone get ready, because now I'm gonna actually use it. I'm gonna set the test speed to 1. I can actually run the tests at a multiple of the normal speed, and it doesn't change anything about the results, but this time I'm gonna run it at normal speed, which is gonna take about half an hour, and then I can talk to you guys and answer some questions. But I will first explain what is happening on the screen, of course. So yeah, basically all I have to do now is type patch test, and I'm gonna press enter, and now the magic starts to happen. So what is happening now is that it literally changes to every single car in the game, puts it in the middle, in the same spot, lets it drop to the ground, and then you can see it waits a bit to make sure that the physics have settled, so it's in a stable position. And then it saves all the stats of the car to a file. So we can already see this happening if it works. Yeah, right here we have under car stats already backfire and breakout. And if I double click on the breakout CSV, it saves car location, car linear velocity, and all that stuff, quaternions. And the wheel positions, the offsets, the suspension distance, the wheel radius. Basically everything you can think of that is important to preset gets saved here. And yeah, this is gonna happen for every single car now. You can see it already did a bunch of cars, and I'm just gonna leave it. This is kind of the boring part, because it's just collecting stats right now, but this is just to save me some time. The interesting part is obviously afterwards, when we're actually gonna test physics and not just like the cars. Alright, yeah, while this is going on, I can definitely answer some questions or something. No, I didn't type patch test. The problem is I have a party chat on P, and P opens the party chat, and the old BakkesMod console doesn't BakkesMod console doesn't block the inputs, so the P just goes through. Why do I sound like I have a cold? I don't know. Do I really sound? I mean, I had a cold for a while, but right now I'm actually doing fine. I mean, my voice is not perfect right now. I understand why you say that. But do you think that on every video, or my voice processing is pretty aggressive, to be honest? Alright, yeah. If you want to go ahead and ask me some questions, now would be time. Otherwise, it's going to be afterwards. But the entire test, start to finish, because I'm running it at normal speed now, is going to run for 30 minutes. But it's fine, because, yeah, we can do Q&A. Where do I live? Well, I'm not sure if I want to say it like too precisely. I live close to Münster. Am I going to RSCS Season 6? No, that is way too expensive. Can you test your reaction time? I mean, I could. It's not really... I've done it before. I'm not the best, I'm not the worst. Yeah, close to Münster, as I said. I'm not gonna get more precise. No, wait, Evnish, are you, God, I can't remember the name, I'm gonna check on Discord right now. Who asked the question? Alucard? I already answered on Discord. There is no code you paste in Durazno. Durazno already has the squaring, so all you have to do is, in order to enable it, is tick a checkbox somewhere in the options. You're using PS3 controller, should you use square or cross? I thought about making a stream. Oh yeah, this is the Mystery Universe decal preset. I thought about doing a stream on the topic of like stick sensitivity and dead zone, because there's a lot of misinformation out there, and it's partly fault because of the way Steam named stuff. With like squaring the dead zone, it's not actually squaring the dead zone. It's actually squaring the area of the stick. It's really just a bad thing, and then I wanted to discuss a lot of different things. It's definitely not that easy of an answer. So yeah, you should probably use cross if you're doing fine with it. But if you're already used to square, then just use it. If I had it my way, would I keep 6 presets only, or would I make every car unique again? Well, it really depends on the car. I mean, I think all the cars, because of this, are actually viable. And at the same time, some of them really have really bad hitbox match. So I don't know if they should just add more presets or something. They're always questionable with you when you have like different cars and they are not free for everyone. Then it's yeah. Well, I wouldn't really know, but it's I think the presets are a good thing overall, because you know you get the same physics and you can use them. How to do 120 FOV in BakkesMod? I'm not sharing that, and it's not intended, because unless Psyonix gives us basically green light that it's allowed. I mean, there are lots of ways to do it. I wouldn't even say that BakkesMod is the easiest way. You can just open cheat engine, and if you just follow the easiest cheat engine tutorial, it will work. Psyonix just doesn't do anything about it. I think they should come out with a statement and stuff like that, and maybe just add a command and make their own console, like I suggested previously, because I definitely think 120 FOV should be allowed, but I think that stuff like that definitely gives you an advantage. So if we're saying in general mods aren't allowed to give you an advantage, then the mod shouldn't be allowed to give you a higher FOV. What happens if you use Durazno and Steam controller? I've never tried, to be honest. It's probably the way it's gonna work is that one is gonna act first and then the second one is gonna act second. So it's basically going to go through both. And yeah, that's basically not gonna help you. I would just stick to one. There's really no thing that you can't do. Well, if you basically can do anything in Steam controller settings, so just go with that if you need some feature from that. If you show your FAS in BakkesMod, what is the millisecond number under it? That's the frame time, which Psyonix also shows right here. FPS, this is the Psyonix timer. FPS, and then the frame time below that. And that's basically the time in milliseconds it takes to render the frame and display it. But if you make like It's the time between the last frame and the current frame. That's the actual number I was looking for. The time between the last frame and the second then frame now. Yeah, lower is better because it means the graphics card and everything calculated shorter and you have more frames in that second. Chat is moving pretty fast. I already had some questions scroll by. I'll maybe try and go back up. Yes, I do study in Münster. Garage changed some INI settings at recent RACS LAN. Yeah, that could be. It's fair, in my opinion. I mean, it's just config files within the game. And I'm pretty sure there are rules about that, so if he was allowed to do it, then it's alright. Yeah, there are a couple of, like, these are the presets for, I believe, random... Oh, yeah, okay. I'm gonna go back to this now. I'm sorry, I'm done answering questions for now, because now the physics tests start happening. This is just the very first basic test on Octane. It's just gonna full speed and then start turning. This test is just boosting while turning. And all these tests are gonna get repeated for every preset. So this is the power slide test. This power slides left and right a bit. This is a regular jump. This is a double height jump. So basically if you keep the button pressed. This is double jump. And this is a front flip. Just a regular one. Now it's gonna do a diagonal flip, regular one. And I'm not stopping the inputs, that's why it keeps just turning over there. That was a diagonal dodge with arrow. Done with arrow. That was basically a forward dodge, but it's just slightly off on purpose. That's a wave dash. That's a flip cancel. That's a diagonal flip cancel. This is fully automatic with macros, and it's gonna be the same every time. That was like very slightly diagonal flip cancel. That's a stall. This is just for turtling. Checking the physics if you're on the ground. Okay, I'm gonna turn ball cam on and off. That's just air turning. Now that's accelerating in the air. Testing that. Boosting. Just the boost power without being on the ground. And now some wall physics. This is wall physics with power slide. And this is some on the ceiling. And now we get to the car ball interactions. So this is very basic test. Just straight up ground shot driving into the ball. A dodge one. Now these might look sometimes stupid like that one, but it doesn't actually matter whether the shot is powerful or a good one or not, as long as it recreates the scenario I wanted to recreate. And for the dribbles there are actually 3 different ones for different card presets, because as you can see this one instantly dropped off because the card presets are so different that some of the dribbles instantly drop off on the different card presets, which is why I've created a couple of different ones. And these are the air dribble ones. There's one for the Octane preset in here. Yeah, this one's for the Octane, I believe. Alright, these are wheel hits. This is nothing right here. That's just to set up that I have no dodge. And then I get a flip reset basically. That's what I'm testing there. So I dodged once to get rid of my flip. And then once I got rid of my flip, I'm testing if I get the flip reset. And this is not flip reset, this is just straight up jumping off the ball. Now I'm doing pinches. One on the wall. one on the ground, I believe. The camera spazzed out a bit there. Yeah, that's all the tests for the different cars and car ball interactions, and this is gonna be repeated with every single preset in the game, and that's why it takes pretty long. And yeah, I can answer some more stuff now. Because yeah, this is just the same macros, just it's run on the hybrid preset. Is this 10x speed? Yeah, no, I'm purposefully running this as full speed. Yeah, I can make it faster, but yeah, I want this as background for now to show it off. And because I know there are some people that are not gonna trust on the fact that it is exactly the same if I run it at 5 times or 10 times the speed. Although 10 times it's not quite possible. And yeah, but with future patches I'm likely gonna make it run at more speed, so I don't have to wait for half an hour. But this patch is already like a week old or more than a week old, so it doesn't really matter anymore. We're gonna have to wait another half an hour. What exactly am I recording on each test? Yeah, XYZ coordinates or more complex? Yeah, this really depends on the test, but I can show a couple of examples. Oh wait, no, I need to stay on the screen. I thought I need to go on my second. But I don't want to like go over everything. So we are already done with Octane. For example, for the air dribble. It opens. Okay. For the air dribble, I'm doing stuff like inputs. So this is the physics frame. There are 120 physics frames in each second. Yeah, input, boost, activate boost, holding boost, throttle, the pitch. Basically, I'm always tracking the inputs that are important. This is the dribbling scenario for the Venom, which didn't drop off instantly. This one's gonna drop off instantly, and I believe this one's for Dominus. Yeah, that's one. That one's not for Venom. Alright, yeah. I'm logging all the important inputs. Then obviously car location, car linear velocity, which is how the car moves around, car quaternion, which is the rotation, then car angular velocity, which is the rotational speed. Then the same for ball, because air dribble is obviously car ball interactions, so I'm checking all of this for ball as well. And that's about it for this test. And for most car ball tests, because those are all the stats that the car and ball basically have. Why is my cursor so big? Oh, what the heck? What is OBS doing? I don't know. It's not really that big. But I guess it's nice. Because if you don't use the cursor yourself, it's kind of hard to follow. So yeah. Can you save that stream? This one? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I study at university computer science. And okay, out of range kinda asked the same as Shadow. Wait, where's my YouTube? There. I need to scroll up a bit. Alright. Noted. I don't actually know how to pronounce the name, Seru or whatever. Really, do you study computer science as well? That's nice. I do know a Chris, but I've talked with him about this, so he knows that I'm doing this. And he definitely does not play Rocket League, so... And he isn't written with a Z either. Thank you very much, Daniel. Why am I using Venom as my main? Basically because the hybrid preset has very good turning, and the hybrid preset is long, and the hybrid preset is high. It's basically just a tiny bit lower than the Octane. And yeah, no other cars come close. So you don't give up too much when using the hybrid preset to the Octane in terms of height. Unlike the other flat cars and flat cars. Oh wow. Hey Ken. Thank you very much, man. For the $2. This is rocket science. Out of range, you gotta be really careful when you do testing like that. I have seen before that if the controller inputs nothing, that somehow the game still turns that into like 0.0005 input or something. And if you don't have a dead zone on, for example, well, actually, I'm not sure if that was after the dead zone. I'm not quite sure how that worked, but yeah, it was definitely, there was some issue with that. And another thing that's not reproducible, well, if you spawn and it's not 100% the exact same position, then it's not exactly the same. And another thing, if you use a car of the same preset, but it's not the same car, then actually Psyonix uses different spawn positions. So even though it's the same preset, and if I spawn it with the location function, the correct one, then it's exactly the same. But if you just spawn it with the regular spawning methods in game, by just resetting your car, and you're using a different car of the same preset, it's not gonna have the same result, because it basically spawns in a different position. Oops. What's the protocol and testing tools, please? I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. Could you... I'm not trying to be like annoying, but yeah, if you could form a full sentence out of that, that would help me. What is going on in chat, man? So, Bakkes is moderator now. Fix it, Bakkes. Yeah, English chat, please. I don't know how to read Cyrillic. Is the heavy car bug real? Any chance to prove it? I don't think it's real. I haven't seen anything that basically shows what people claim it does. There are always inconsistencies and everything. But yeah, inconsistencies aren't necessarily bugs. I haven't seen anything that's outside of the ordinary. And I missed another message again. Can I somehow make this chat bigger on this dashboard? Must be a way, right? No, even if I move the other applets to the side, it doesn't get bigger. I don't know how to stream on YouTube. But yeah, as I always say, the physics of the same presets are 100% identical. So, unless they have a bug now, but that's how it works now since patch 1.37 or something. And you can just use any of the hybrid presets you want. Come on. I hate YouTube. Live streaming. I don't hate YouTube at all. YouTube, don't unpartner me. Weird. Yeah, I really don't know how to make this chat bigger. I could maybe go on the watch page, then I don't have all the other analytics and stuff that are supposed to help me, but what CPU, GPU do I use? I have a Core i5 6600K and GeForce GTX 970. Has anyone ever had a problem with the game being recorded as a widescreen? No. I've had some problems with Shadowplay recently, but it was flickering. Black flickering. Use the pop-out function. Here. Oh, nice. Bakkes always with the great tips. And it's even night mode, but it doesn't help me because the rest of the Creative Studio is in night mode. But I'll take it. So yeah, we're on the plank preset right now, and afterwards is Batmobile, I believe. And if you actually look at the difference between these tests, like the differences you can tell by eye, you will notice that the differences between plank and Batmobile are insanely small, as is expected, because the presets, well, Batmobile isn't a preset, but Batmobile is incredibly similar to the plank preset. No. It's not every car is different. There are only the 6 presets, and in terms of physics, those are 100% identical. Unless I find a bug now. And there is one car that doesn't actually have the same stats. Because as a matter of fact, I haven't tested every single car before in terms of being actually the preset that it is, but I know Tulane has done so on a different patch. So there was actually every single preset, every single car had a preset except for the Batmobile, like Psionic said. So unless they're changed, or any of the new cars doesn't have the correct preset, everything works like I expected to. Is Rocket League written in C++? Mostly Unreal script as far as I know. So basically on the Unreal Engine. The Unreal Engine is of course written in some version of C or C++. Like every piece of efficient software. Basically every. Some car having a bugged hitbox. I mean, it could always be possible, right? But as a matter of fact, while this is running, where do we have like this? I have made Github. The link is in the description. I don't know if you see that of the stream. Description of the stream should be somewhere. And in this GitHub, I have the raw files of the tests. Whoops. Rocket League patch tester results. And basically, there's a script to copy the files over from the Rocket League directory. And yeah, we have 1.49, patch 1.49. And current patch is also the same as patch 1.49 because I tested on patch 1.49. And what we're going to do after this is put the 1.52 files in there and compare them. What makes the Batmobile different? For that, you can check the spreadsheet, which was also in the video description, and maybe Bakkes can link it again because he's amazing. So basically, you can see, okay, this is the wheel section, which is the only difference of the Batmobile to the plank. You can see all this is the same, but right here, this is 0.03 difference in the Z and the 0.43 difference in the X, and so basically the back axle, the wheels, are just slightly different, and that creates a difference in turning. That doesn't make the Batmobile bad, but makes it different, and makes it, if you compare it to all other cars, basically the worst car in terms of turning in almost all scenarios. So one thing I have to say in advance before well, this is with the ball cam is kinda bad. If I turn it off, then it doesn't look right. If I leave it on, then it doesn't look right. But yeah, if we find a difference here, I have to tell everyone that you should not start a shitstorm, because there are simply a lot of ways it could have gone wrong. I'm telling you, on patch 1.49, this was the same every time. And on patch 1.49, it was also a certain way. And if that way is not the same here, that could have a lot of reasons, like if I did something wrong when I patched to the new patch. It might not be Psyonix's fault. So if we find a difference here, before you go ahead and start a shitstorm on Reddit and say basically, oh, the physics must be different, I want to definitely check through those things and figure out what could have caused the issue. And yeah, if I see that there's basically the same input on every frame, I can check the CSV file for that. And if I see that the ball is set up and starting in the same way, if it has the same starting point and everything, then I will conclude that the physics must have changed, if that is the difference. And if there's no difference, there's obviously no difference. But yeah, there's no confirmation for sure that there is an actual difference. It's just definitely worth checking out then if there is a difference. So there's no proof, because there are a lot of reasons that can cause a difference. Which cars have the least amount of recoil when hitting the ball? That question would mean which car is the heaviest, basically, and all cars have the same weight. It just depends on how you hit the ball more, and it might be that with certain cars you might hit the ball you are more likely to hit the ball at a certain angle, and if that's the case, then that could make a difference. And there could be a best car, but I can't give you an easy answer to that, because at first sight it should be the same for every car with the same weight, but because certain cars are different, yeah, you might hit the ball differently most of the time. So this should be the most impressive air dribble. Yeah, basically goes to the ceiling. Oh, come on, Evgeny. Depends on length. Yeah, that could be goodness. That could definitely be true, because if the ball is further away from you, and if the ball is further away from you when you hit it, which is basically what happens if you have a longer car, then you're gonna hit the ball while it's further away from your center of mass. My goodness, I am really bad at this. It's further away from your center of mass, and that's the reason why why you have more basically lenience left and right. Oh, we're done. So right now there are the bounce tests with only the ball. And as you can see, this one is testing spin, and it's just... This one's testing full speed bounce to check if something changed about the maximum speed of the ball. And this one's just rolling on the ground. Just a couple of different scenarios to figure out if the just regular ball physics are the same. So this is a buggy bounce I found in one of my videos. So wait. Okay. I think I might be testing one shot that I don't need. Yeah, this was it. So it has run all the way through. And we now have... This could have been way faster. About 3 times as fast at least. But yeah. We were answering some stuff and I wanted to show it off. We have a CSV file for every one of these ball scenarios. We have a CSV file for all of these car scenarios for every single preset there is. And we have for every single car the car stats. And now for the moment of truth, I'm gonna copy these over. So I showed the GitHub earlier. And Git is a program that's not just meant for the stuff I'm doing here, but it's a program that can check for differences. So if I basically... I'm gonna show this off. I'm gonna drag this console over here. If I show git status, it will tell me my branch is up to date with origin master, which is what I've uploaded right here, the master, and that's what it's called. And if something changes in the current patch, let's open all CSV, and let's check. Oh wait, this is I'm gonna open this through Sublime, a buggy bounce. And let's say in the 20th physics tick that I'm tracking, the ball is just, I don't know, right here, 0.30. So it's basically just 0.0001% different position or something like that. It's just a minuscule difference that you couldn't even tell. Well, this tool, if I type git status again, will tell me this file was modified. And I can show the difference. And as a matter of fact, you can also look this up on the GitHub web link right here on commits once I'm done with this. So basically, because I just changed something, it will instantly notice something is different and tell me, okay, this is somehow different. And then I can look at the line and see where the difference is. And that I will have to figure out if there is a difference. And yeah. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to leave the file in there because I'm going to override it now with my script. I have a Python script right here. And I'm going to run that real quick. And I'm gonna run that with the new patch number 1.52. And as you will see just in a second, when it's done. Alright, now we have a 1.52 folder and we have a current patch folder. And I know as a matter of fact that these have been updated, first of all because you can see the date modified right here, and because I just changed something here, so this shouldn't be an issue anymore. So now is the moment of truth, because if git status now returns that nothing has changed, wait, it will never return that nothing has changed. I just noticed that. because I have patch 1.52 folder here, which is obviously going to be new. So I'm gonna just lift this out for a second. If nothing has changed, this should show no differences. Well, that is interesting. As a matter of fact, it seems every single file has changed. That is kind of unfortunate. As I said before, this is no guarantee that the physics changed, because it could be that my setup method is just different. I mean, these at the bottom right here, these are no new cars, right? Maverick, G1, obviously this is going to be different. But these are basically every single log is different. And yeah, I can just add this and then we can take a look at the differences, I guess. Alright, I will just add the patch 1.52 folder back. I can guarantee you that at least on patch 1.49, if you did this test twice, it would result give the same result, exactly the same result every single time. Wait, it doesn't complain about line endings, I hope. Nah, that wouldn't complain about line endings. Otherwise it would happen every time, because as I said, it's the same process as on patch 1.49. Okay, so we're gonna commit this and call it just gonna call it patch 1.52. And push this. Because something that is very interesting, would be very interesting to me, is if all of these have changed instantly, because there's a difference between that. So we can now look right here on commits, patch 1.52, and it will show the differences. So first of all, okay, these are the patch 1.52, this is a new folder. New folder is obviously going to be everything new. We want to get to the part where we get to current patch, because that one is supposed to overwrite the differences. And okay, this is really unfortunate. Because if we look at these differences, we can see that, for example, with the buggy bounce, these are all the differences, which means the bounces are actually any different. This is just some computer maths. So they must have changed something with how they calculate stuff, I guess, underneath the hood. Or this just randomly happens with patches, which would be very unfortunate. Because as you can see right here, this tick, for example, there's just this tiny difference, but in the next tick it's gone and there's basically no difference. Yeah, floating point precision. This is a problem of computer maths. Computers are never 100% precise, so you basically have this difference right here, but it's... I'm gonna enhance it a bit. What? It's not... Okay, I shouldn't have done that, I guess. Holy, this is so much on this page. Okay. As you can see, just the last digit is different. This is minus 0.059330, and this is minus 0.059329. And as a matter of fact, I can tell you for sure that that didn't happen on the same patch, but apparently does happen on a new patch, which is unfortunate. Because, okay, we basically know that this bounce isn't different, because the only differences we see here are negligible. But we would have to go through every single one of these files to figure out if there is a real difference, which we obviously don't want to do, right? But, for example, you can see here in the dribble of the Batmobile that it starts to diverge after 150 ticks. Until the end. And let's look at the end state and check if there is a meaningful difference. There must be a better way to do this. Maybe someone knows a tool where I can view the lines side by side. I don't have anything installed at the moment, I believe. I mean, I have Git, of course. But I'm just gonna do this manually right here. And confirm those two. So what happens to the end state, right? That's the interesting part. So it diverges, but is it negligible or not? Because if floating point math changes, then obviously that can cause a difference. If it's so small that you can't notice, then it's kind of unfortunate. So, what do we see here? I should have kept the header too, so we know what we're looking at. Wait. GitHub can show sites by sites. Really? Where do I have to click for that though? Wait, where am I? Okay, Batmobile. Didn't I open Dribble just there? Of the Batmobile? Am I going nuts? Which Dribble did I open? Okay, I don't need the... I'm just gonna go with any Dribble. So I can view side by sides here. At the top of the commit, I need to go back to normal. Okay, this is all the stuff data making my PC struggle on one side. Where exactly would I check this? Okay, I think the Chrome tab just crashed straight up. Yeah, definitely did. Okay, first of all, we gotta check that the inputs actually didn't change. And that is true because, as you can see, the logs where the information gets saved, they were changed 7 minutes ago, but the inputs weren't changed. So that means I didn't actually accidentally change any inputs. Split. All right. Okay, so we gotta scroll down again. There's also a way I can just show some of the files. I mean, I can obviously toggle all of these off. Browse files. I should probably be able to just check out one file, because otherwise this is just gonna get too much. Dribble. This doesn't show me the difference. Nah, split was the correct one. I was on unified previously. Where do I see his? There. I'm really blind. Would I click on now? On this one, right? Well, this shows everything now again. Well, anyway. This is a bit tough for my... I'm just gonna look at something like the dribble. Okay. Load diff of the Batmobile dribble. Well, that doesn't help at all. I thought it would like show the same line next to each other. What? Help me. There's way too much data on one side. Alright, doesn't really matter because all I needed, I already copied some stuff. So I'm just gonna go ahead and copy the header of this. Wait. Oh. And now I gotta split this at comma somehow. How do I do that again? Because my Excel is obviously using their stupid... Oops. Data import. Yeah, but I don't want to import a CSV, right? I want to import from my... Okay. Okay. So the final state, we have the car location off by 2 Unreal units, which is really minor. But that's the X direction. The Y direction is off by 6, which isn't that minor. And the velocity is really minor difference, really minor difference. The angle has a really minor difference, but the important part, this is a dribble, right? Does the ball land in a different spot? And the answer is quite yes. So there is most definitely a difference at the end there. The question is, could Psyonix have prevented this? Because as a matter of fact, I am quite certain that there's a real difference. And it's not my fault. And it is simply because well, we can check the inputs and they should still be exactly the same. And as we have seen, the divergence comes from some floating point difference. And floating point problems are, well, hard to solve. The problem is that that means my entire testing suite isn't as great as I thought it is. Because if a floating point change can happen on any patch and it causes this much divergence because I'm using exactly the same inputs, then that means that this is gonna find a difference on any patch regardless of how major it is. So the next step for this tool was for me to not just take a diff. So basically what I'm currently doing is calculating the difference, right? Well, not calculating, but just checking if there is a difference. And as soon as there's a difference, I see something. And the next step would basically be to calculate the stats from this data. And if the stats aren't different in a meaningful manner, then that means that there's just a tiny difference that you can't even notice. But there's a tiny difference that you can't even notice, but as soon as you have the exact same inputs for, I don't know, 550 physics ticks, that's like for, yeah, I mean 550 times you have exactly the same inputs in a row. And that can just create a divergence out of nowhere, apparently. And that seems quite unfortunate, I'm honest. And that really makes me sad, to be honest, because I'm definitely gonna contact Psionics on this, because I want to know if this is something that they know happens on like every patch. I don't know if someone here has more knowledge about exactly how floating point math and stuff like that works, because most people, I think, in computer science, and including me, just know that you can't trust floating points to be accurate. That's just a problem that you have. But I really don't know why it would be exactly the same every time you run it, so it's not a hardware issue. But if you change the patch, it's not the same. So that makes me wonder if they changed something about how they compile stuff, or they use a different compiler for some things underneath the hood, which causes the difference in floating point maths, or if this is something that can randomly change on any patch. Yeah, I'm doing a git diff, and this was 100% reliable on the same patch, but it isn't on a new patch, and it isn't because the setup is imprecise. It happens midway through the result, where it just starts becoming imprecise by a negligible amount, but then the next tick also is imprecise because of the previous tick, gets more imprecise and everything, and apparently after a few ticks that means you can have a non-negligible difference. But it's questionable whether that makes a difference to a human, because as soon as the difference becomes non-negligible, you will notice it and you will adjust for it, like you always do if you see the ball, like if you're dribbling with the ball, you're constantly adjusting. If you're actually trying to code a macro like I did for these tests, where you're dribbling, then you will see that the ball falls off the entire time, and all you have to do is like go back and forth and get back and forth to make sure that there is that you actually keep the ball on the top of your car. And somehow brains are amazing, so you can adjust for the tiniest differences. And I should not play in windowed mode apparently, because I can click on Steam notifications and get tapped out. Yeah. They might have introduced the math abstractions that chumps floating points from, say, float 64. I mean, they definitely never used float 64s. And they did do something like that. I talked about that in patch 1.43, right? I think. And since then, they have chopped off some of the stuff on purpose, which should prevent like floating point inconsistencies from carrying on, because they are so minor that they wouldn't affect the next tick. But it seems... Wait a second. Did they turn those off? Or am I... This might just be another problem with floating points. No, they are rounding to 2 decimals. That's the thing. You can see that right here with the... I'm going to zoom in a bit. If you look at the ball location.x, they're rounding to 2 decimals. 1700.38. And then you have this bit of impreciseness at the end. And this should be rounded to 6.6. And then there's just a bit of imprecise data at the end. And that should prevent this kind of stuff. But they're only rounding the location. and the linear velocity. And the quaternions aren't, as far as I know, at all. And the angular velocity isn't at all. Which is likely the reason for why anything that can be affected by stuff like that, like dribbling, where the ball rotates on your car, like this, there's friction getting calculated. So that will create a divergence over time. But if you look at the buggy bounce, this one wait, this just shows, right, if you look at a line in here, well, it doesn't show the difference here, right, does it? Well, I gotta go to difference then again, but that's, there's just too much stuff in here. There's history there. I'm gonna read some chat now. What's the language? Most of the Rocket League based code is in Unreal script. But the engine runs, yeah, it's the Unreal engine, and they could change anything about it in theory. And that's C or something, C++, I don't know. Yeah, I do think my core tool is correct too. Like, it doesn't seem, based on these setups I'm seeing. First of all, the inputs are definitely the same I'm sending. What? Oh my goodness, this is so broken. Browsers are not made for this. Current patch, current patch, current patch. How do I not skip over stuff? Why am I not control F'ing that? Right, the buggy bounce. Okay, this buggy bounce has spin in it, so it's has problem. But this one doesn't have spin. And as you can see, there is a slight divergence here, but it gets nullified in the next tick again because of the quantization they're doing. What am I currently looking at? I'm looking at the difference in numbers based on the tool I've ran, which basically should run exactly the same thing every time. But it apparently, because of the new patch, it causes a slight difference. But yeah, I definitely not go out now and claim like that you can't play because of this difference and everything. I'm definitely going to look more at this data in the next couple of days, and I'm definitely going to contact Psyonix about this if they know whether stuff like this can happen on any patch, and what could have caused this. But because it does seem to be a floating point problem, and if you see here, right, with the rotation, because this ball has spin, it causes a divergence again. Oh, this one actually catches itself, I guess, once it touches the ground, because it doesn't make a significant difference there. So yeah, I think I can do some Q&A, but I'm definitely gonna keep you guys up to date on Twitter, Discord, definitely. And if it's important, I'm gonna make a video on it, of course. But if it just turns out to be like floating point maths, and Psyonix can confirm that it's basically just happens or stuff like that, and maybe just happened on this patch, then I might not make a new video on this. But yeah, I will definitely update on Twitter or on Discord. So it's only car contact where the commits branch. No, not. If you check the current tests, there are first of all just ball tests, and those don't seem to diverge too much. For example, you can see these two were literally identical compared to last patch. Those had no spin. And if you have no spin, apparently, the floating point problem doesn't exist because they're quantifying the location and linear velocity, but not the angular velocity. The ones with rotations have slight differences. Once you get a car-ball interactions, there is a significant difference. There are also things like just turning. For example here, full speed left-right turn. This is not a car-ball interaction. I could check, for example, whether there is a significant difference in this file. Yeah, quaternions. I mean, quaternions are in there anyway, right? It must be because of the angular velocity, which is just a vector. Because obviously you can't turn off a quaternion. The ball and car are always going to have a certain rotation. The difference happens when there is angular velocity. Oh yeah, when you do quaternion calculation, yeah, of course, if you don't have any angular velocity, it's not gonna recalculate the quaternion, or it's gonna recalculate but change nothing. I don't know. Okay, current patch. Let's look at logs. Let's look at if there is like a meaningful difference between a turn. So we can see obviously that this diverges right here. But a divergence, because this is not a car-ball interaction, doesn't necessarily mean that there is a significant difference. And as I said before, that's basically the next step I want to take with this tool. And because I'm getting these differences, I have to make this my next step to confirm that basically the turning of the cars hasn't changed in a significant manner. But as you can see right here, if we look at location, the location basically changes by up to 0.05 unreal units in a turn. That's basically nothing. If you think about the Octane hitbox is 118 unreal units long. If the location of the car changes by 0.05 unreal units, that means it's like I'm gonna get out the calculator before I fail to calculate something. So we have that divergence, and the car is 100 long. So that's 10 to the power of -4, right? And difference, or if you want it in percent, if this would react. Wait, isn't there a percent key here? Okay. Just calculate it times 100. It's a 0.05% difference in location. And this is after turning for 450 physics ticks, which is 450 physics ticks, that's divided by 120. Well, it's not, yeah, it's about 3 seconds, because I'm not actually turning from the beginning, I forgot about that. But yeah, after about turning for 3 seconds, there's a 0.05% difference in where the car will be. But the problem is that the car ball interactions are so finicky when you dribble that the tiniest difference can make a difference after a while. And yeah, I'm definitely gonna be contacting Psyonix about this, because I want to know if this is like something that happens every patch. Because to this accuracy, I've never actually tested. I usually did some testing with some bounces and car ball interactions, but those were, I looked if there was a divergence that I could see, and now I'm looking through the file. And yeah, I'm seeing a 0.05 under units difference, and that's impossible to see. So I don't know if that happens every patch. Yeah, I can get hold of older Rocket League versions to test. That's true. I mean, I think you're talking about before 1.49, right? Because 1.49 is what I'm comparing it to, and I can tell you for sure that on 1.49, it did get the exact same result every time I ran it. I have tested that multiple times. And yeah, you can get old versions on Steam, but then I need to patch it for that. And I do have some contacts with Psyonix, so I will try to get some information back from them before, I guess. Before I go through the effort of making that work. Jump at a certain point, you will jump further away from the wall. Okay. I mean, is there some, like... I've never seen that. I've seen some weird bounces before based on where the car position was. There was some issue before that Rocket League had. So I'm not gonna, like, say that it's impossible. Does seem very weird. Well, if it's a change with the patch, then it would change online as well, right? Because the servers always get patched on a major patch too. When you play on Linux, my performance stat says 0.0%. Wait, 0.0 GPU. That's just a bug on Linux then. I'm guessing Psyonix didn't catch that when, because obviously they have more people on Linux, on Windows, and probably don't have as much QA. But 0 is impossible. Yeah, I believe I'm gonna, if there are no more questions for now, I'm gonna end the stream. Because, yeah, I need to take a closer look at this. And having to look at it in a way that makes sense to the stream doesn't always help. And then I need to contact Psyonix and get back to you guys. But, yeah. What's a tick? Tick with CK. Just, the physics aren't continuous in Rocket League, or basically any simulation that you see. You just calculate them at certain intervals, which means if the ball has a certain speed, then you calculate how much it will move in the next tick, and that's what's called a tick. Yeah, a tick. I haven't run multiple tests for this patch. I could, right? That might be worth it. But first, set the test speed to 10. Well, I guess if your theory about maybe this test isn't deterministic is true, then it wouldn't be smart to run it at a different speed in case that makes a difference in this patch, because it doesn't make in the previous patch. But well, let's just see. Actually, if I do this, then it will goofy stuff changed. Yes. It's probably just technical though. It's probably not in a manner where a human could detect it ever. Well, with the car ball interaction tests, it definitely becomes, you can definitely see the difference at the end of the result. But that's only because the macro is so good. It runs the macro runs at many times the precision that any human could. And with these things, it's always just a matter of optimizing for matter of making it so small that's undetectable. If that is the case, then it doesn't really matter. It works pretty great though. Works pretty good too. Oh, it's about Linux. Alright. Got it now. Yeah, Rocket League for Linux. It's works pretty well indeed. I tried it a long time ago, and it seemed like on CPU it never put too much effort on the CPU, so the CPU was always fine. But it used to be that the GPU just couldn't run as well on Linux, so you would get way less FPS. But last time I checked it out, I was getting basically the same frame rates on Linux that I get on Windows, and that at the same time I was getting lower CPU usage. So basically, there was more free time for the CPU. I'm rerunning a test right now with the testing tool, which is fully automatic, to make sure that it's still deterministic on the current patch. I have confirmed many times on patch 1.49 that on patch 1.49 that my utility is deterministic and runs exactly the same thing every time, but on patch 1.52 I've only run the test once so far. So it's worth it to run it again, I guess. It's useful you have your FPS on 250 if you can run it steady. Well, the more FPS you have, the lower the input lag gets, so that's useful. Otherwise, there are some minor advantages also to having the frame rate a multiple of the physics tick rate. And since the tick rate is 120, that would be 240, which is basically also very similar input lag to 250. But yeah, I'll have to cover that more in a future video, because the technical reason is it's really not that easy to explain. I really need to make a graphic for that and stuff. Show some math why that is. But that's also only like a theoretical optimum to run it at multiple of the physics tick rate. Because in reality, obviously, your frame rate is never 100% stable, and then it's questionable how much of an advantage you really get from going to 240 instead of 250. But yeah, I'm gonna test that as well. Yeah, exactly. John Doe is right. That's the exact reason. So this is like some stuff I found out now a long time ago already, because it's quite complicated. Because what Rocket League does is first calculate the physics, and then calculates the position and everything that it should have in your frame. And if you want to do like physics testing, and you basically read out the visual position, which is based on interpolation, then it's not as accurate, of course. And yeah, having stuff not be as accurate, that's obviously not something that you want. You want always maximum accuracy. So the test speed is gonna make a major difference once I hit. I'm actually gonna completely unlock the frame rate for maximum test speed, because there's a limit to how fast physics frames run depending on your frame rate. They if you're running like if you're running normal speed of Rocket League, that makes no difference. Don't worry about that. But if you're running the BakkesMod soccer car speed, the game speed, I mean, like I'm running here, like this, you can see how fast the tests run now. And the maximum speed these run at is limited on your frame rate. Okay, this is... Whew. I'm gonna limit it again, because that was apparently not creating the visual frames I wanted. I tried disabling rendering last time, in the last patch. Didn't seem to work at all. Then, for some reason, I don't know. What the heck? This is... Oh. I need to check my performance. Never had the game stutter that much. Well, I guess I'm gonna stay at 120 then. Because otherwise, yeah, Rocket League otherwise gets my CPU to 100% usage, and that's really not good. Gonna drop all the frames. Has Psyonix offered me a job yet? No. I mean, I don't know how to give you a better answer than what I've already said. If you can get stable 240 FPS, I would lock it to 240. Because there are some mathematical advantages. What the heck is... I think the streaming while running this test is kind of a bit too much for my PC. But this is actually related to the new patch, because I never had trouble running this at higher speeds. I am from Germany. Yeah, I watched that talk. That's pretty amazing. I also met Psyonix employee at RCS LAN, and he said apparently they watch all of my videos, all of them. Apparently they post the video to a Slack channel, and then they watch my video. Yeah, of course, if you can run 250 FPS steady, then you can run 240, but many people just set it to 250 if they just run 100 FPS. Basically just uncapping it by setting the value to the maximum. I need to keep the task manager open so I can see if that, when Rocket League does have these spikes. What is this? The CPU usage doesn't actually spike. I don't know why it just stands still. I feel like they might have changed something about how you can do slow motion and fast speeds. Fast motion, no. Running the game at higher speeds and lower speeds. I should say that if you're using a controller with 250 Hz polling rate, then it doesn't really matter whether you use 250 or 240 FPS. But if you're using keyboard and mouse with 1000 Hz, for example, like I do, then 240 is more optimal. Yeah, I'm really not sure why this runs so poorly. Because I believe I did it before on a Twitch stream, running this, at least part of it. Obviously it wasn't done then, but yeah, at higher speeds. Okay, so we got everything logged again now. And I'm gonna run the Python script again, and it's gonna copy everything over, and we're gonna see if there are any difference between the two runs. Which on the previous patch there never were. Every one run was 100% identical every time, regardless of speed or anything. Okay, it's done. Copying. Just confirm. Yeah. Exactly the time I'm at right now. So these are the new files. And let's see if Git can find a difference. Yes. What the heck? But it's not as much as previously. Wait a second, it's actually very specific ones, it seems. Ah. Yeah, I think these are actually the ones where I had FPS drops. Which is really weird, because I've never seen those massive stutters. I've never seen any stuttering cause a difference, but I had like 1 second stutters in this. I'll have to check that out later. On the previous test I could run it at like 10 times speed and I wouldn't get a stutter. Wouldn't get these stutters. And then I got the same result, but I think these are the same. I can check out a diff. What am I doing wrong? Git diff. Music is over? Seems like it. Let's check. Yeah, I know I changed my FPS mid-tests, but I did that on previous patches, as I said, and everything. And the performance and everything is always the same, because the physics aren't chained to the frame rate. Really? Are you sure I need to do that? I swear I do this every time. Yeah, that's not the issue, Bakkes. Yeah, that's like the weird thing. I had these massive stutters and I think they are causing these differences. But I've never seen that before. Like I've never even seen... I mean, I've seen a stutter. But I've never seen like in 5 minutes stutters. 5 stutters, 10 stutters that were 1 second long. I feel like maybe I have a space before. No. There is no difference. It still shows a difference. This is autocomplete, so there's literally no way I could type this wrong. Yeah, I mean, stutter is gonna create a difference for any human, of course, because you first of all can't see what is happening, and second of all, the controller won't get pulled. But my testing tool just hooks directly into the Rocket League physics, so it should not be affected by that at all. Just git diff everything. Okay, doesn't do anything. Yeah, git diff broken. How is there a difference, but no difference? Wait, it says untracked files. I just noticed. How are these untracked? How did I not commit then? Didn't I git add -a? Is there a limit to how many files you can add with git add -a? But that would mean that the GitHub link must have missing files. So what it's saying here is that I added or I deleted. No, it's untracked files. So I added logs BakkesMod air acceleration, which means this shouldn't be here. It isn't. How? How did the previous test not run every test? How is this possible? Oh my goodness, what is wrong with my code? So there is no difference actually. These are all new files, but for some reason, so these stutters didn't actually cause a difference. I really don't know. Did I not git add -a? But this should mean I don't want to see a diff. How do I see the directory at a certain commit? Browse files. It's not a button? Okay, it's a button. It didn't load. Okay. I'm now on the... Are you telling me now? What? Oh my goodness. Oh no, that was the ball. That was why it was so empty. Yeah, this is really weird. I never noticed that. Apparently. The results are we have a floating point difference. You know what that means. Which is kind of unfortunate because it makes it really hard to see if there's like a noticeable difference. But I'm gonna calculate that and I'm gonna contact Psionics to ask them if there is a significant difference in floating points on every patch, basically. Yeah, the stutters make no difference for physics, which is nice. Which I've also never seen before that it does make a difference. But yeah, it's nice to know that it didn't make a difference this time either. How could GitHub screw up though? I literally never pulled. I only pushed, created the directory on my, so it would have to be Git, which is why I'm wondering right now whether. No, it must have been my script or something. I think my Python script might not be copying over every file if I have too many files. That has to be it. Like, I really don't see how anything else could be causing it. So none of these have like current in their file name, right? Because I'm skipping everything that has current in the current.cfg. Reflog. Well, I mean, I can see them not being there. That's why Git tells me I didn't have them there. I just don't see how. Unless it could also be that for some reason my testing tool doesn't write them properly. Well, that's unfortunate anyway. Which just basically means we ran less tests than I wanted to. Well, we saved less data from tests than I wanted to. But it doesn't change anything about what we found. And that I have to contact Psionics about that, yeah. File handle didn't close. Yeah, that's what I'm kind of expecting. Because I didn't restart Rocket League right here, you know? And I ran the test again. So maybe it closed the file on the second try. No? But yeah. Still same conclusion. So physics on the same patch are the same. All the files that were already there are identical. All of these are new files that weren't there previously. So I'm gonna revert to the previous patch. Get stats from these two. Because apparently I did not commit them to the directory. And yeah. Figure everything out and get back. If there is a significant difference, you will see a video. Otherwise, you will see some message on Twitter or Discord. But no video. I use BakkesMod. Thankfully, Bakkes has given me access to the source code and just build on top of that. So, yeah. That's everything. then I wanted to say something exactly. Yeah, with these patches, I wanted to ask everyone if I have a better version of this, which doesn't just test for exact differences, but actually calculate stats from it, which I've planned. So you can notice if there is like a significant difference in the stats. When I have a version of that, and when new patches come out, do you guys want live streams on YouTube or on Twitch? Because I have a Twitch and I sometimes stream on there. I streamed like almost half of the creation of this tool on Twitch, and I don't want to spam my YouTube, but it's basically a question of, do you want me to stream patch? It's just gonna be a patch update then, basically run the patch tester, and hopefully with a better tool that can determine whether there's a significant difference and not just any difference. That I basically just run that, test that, give you guys the results as soon as I can after patches come out. So this should stay up on YouTube, yeah. I will check if I can like cut off the beginning, but it should definitely stay on YouTube. And sometimes the YouTube live streams are kind of weird, where they need to process and then they don't work for a couple of hours or days. I've seen that before, where only half the stream is available and then it becomes available later. So you're gonna have to check that out, but yeah, you can definitely watch it. So we have 1 Twitch, 2 Twitch, 3 Twitch, 4 Twitch, and 1, 2, 3 YouTubes, 4 Twitch. I mean, the thing is, as I said, I don't want to spam the YouTube, right? Because then there's so much stuff here. And yeah, so if you want every stream, you're definitely gonna have to follow me on Twitch, because I sometimes do stuff and I don't think it's as important to everyone. So I will just I just stream for fun maybe, and I will just turn my Twitch stream on because I really don't want to do that on YouTube. But I will turn on the YouTube stream for important stuff because there's just bigger viewer base. I just wanted to know if you guys think that for these patch tests, which once I've explained this tool now, showed off this tool, and hopefully a better version next time, then okay, there are a bunch of people more YouTube now. Yeah, I understand. If you guys followed me on YouTube, you want to watch that on YouTube, so I will do that for the patch test things. Oh, hey Dan. And no, definitely not a second channel on YouTube. Most definitely not. No, I don't like YouTube streams. I only do them because, yeah, there is a bigger audience. Obviously, the people that want to see this are more likely to see it on YouTube. But yeah, my Twitch is also in the stream description. So if you want to make sure that every stream you get it, or at least a notification for it. I mean, you don't have to click on it if it says that I'm just playing for fun. Then do that. And yeah, I'm gonna do a stream on every patch then on YouTube. And thanks again, Bakkes, for all the links. Yeah, and make sure you check out all my social media. And make sure you check out BakkesMod, because this wouldn't be possible without BakkesMod. And there are lots of other great things in BakkesMod. Like, for example, oh my god, I can't play with windowed mode. It's impossible. Borderless, at least. For example, I can just pass the ball to me, BakkesMod. And I haven't played Rocket League in a while, so I'm absolutely terrible. But BakkesMod is gonna help me get real good again, real quick. So that's BakkesMod.com and at BakkesMod on Twitter. Alright, everyone, yeah, thanks for tuning in, thanks for checking this out. So, final state, there is a difference between patch 1.49 and 1.52, but the difference is in floating point maps, and you probably, if you want like floating point inaccuracy, if you just Google that and read some questions, I'm sure there are some like answers that explain it for people that don't know too much about computers. Floating point inaccuracy, that's what's causing the difference, and that's what the difference is. The difference is negligible for stuff like regular turning, but once you get into dribbling, it's negligible for a couple of milliseconds, half a second. But if you do exactly the same action for 1 second straight or 2 seconds straight, then it's gonna accumulate the difference, and then it's no longer negligible in stuff like dribbling. But it's questionable whether it's noticeable for a human, because no one can be that accurate by hand. But I'm definitely still gonna go check it out and get some more data for it. Ask Psyonix whether this is common, whether this happens on every patch, because I haven't been testing this accurately for every patch. And once I have that information, if it is something interesting to look at, I'm gonna make a video. Otherwise, Twitter, Discord, as I said before. And now I'm really gonna end the stream. And I hope everyone has a nice evening, or wherever you are. It's exactly midnight for me. Good night.